Hello there, Seb here from Motorhome Dealer Group, and welcome to the video guide for the Sargent EC940 control panel that you see here in front of me. In this video guide, we're going to be running through the features of this control panel and how to use it, what all the buttons do, and how to interpret the information it's telling you, so that you're going to feel comfortable using this control panel in your leisure vehicle. Now, we're not going to be covering any problem solving or troubleshooting in this video, so if you are experiencing issues with your control panel, please read your instruction materials or seek the help of a technical professional. This video guide really is just a quick start guide to get you up and running using this control panel in your leisure vehicle. So with all that said, let's get started. So this control panel is the smaller brother to the Sargent EC940 control panel, which is much bigger, but the user interface between the two panels are very, very similar. So if you've used one, you'll probably be able to use the other quite happily. Obviously, this video guide is going to be focusing on the 940, the smaller of the two, and this is the screen you see, or this is how the control panel presents itself when it is off. You may have some company branding on the screen, such as we have here, but at the bottom you can see a grayed out power symbol just here. Now this power symbol we simply touch to bring the panel to life. There we go. Now we do have an entranceway light on this vehicle immediately above the control panel, so I apologize if there are any glare issues or anything like that that makes some of this hard to see, but hopefully it's going to be okay. So this is the main menu, if you will, and you can see it's titled Home, so we'll call it the home screen actually. And on this screen we have the main buttons we can play with. We have in the four corners some other symbols. We have a clock, we have a warning triangle, we have a question mark, and we have a cog. These are for looking at the clock screen, any alerts or warnings or errors we have, a help menu, and settings. Now, I'll touch on the help menu. Pretty much every area or section of this control panel will feature this question mark in the top, and it will give you a very detailed help section about that particular screen or menu option that you're on. It's a very, very good help system on this control panel. It literally tells you everything. So this one, as you can see, is telling us what all the different main menu buttons are doing. We've got 4 pages. We can scroll through the different pages of help information here, and it literally tells the user exactly what everything is for and what it does. It's very, very useful. So if you are using this control panel and you find you are not sure what something does or what you should press, your first stop should really be pressing that question mark and reading the help menu to get a good idea of what you should be doing, and hopefully that answers your questions. Very, very good, very useful on this control panel. At the bottom you can see the power symbol. It's now illuminated blue, highlighted, so it shows that the van is on. Obviously if we were to touch that, it would power back down again. So let's show you the settings menu first. So we'll go into here, press the cog, and we have the user setup screen. At the top we have 2 fields. We have the option that we can change the settings for, and then the field below it is the options for that setting. So for example, key beep, the lower field is just going to allow us to cycle that either on or off. The next option is LCD brightness, and the lower field allows us to change the brightness of the screen there. We then have backlight time. Of course, that's going to be how long it takes before the backlight turns off. Water alarms, so whether or not you want your tank alarms on or off. Lighting mode. Now this one is interesting. From my playing around, this seems to choose what lights are going to come on when we turn the panel on. So you can either have no lights come on, or you can have your main lights or lights in the dimmer light come on. This may vary the options depending on what lighting options you have for your vehicle, but if you want certain lights to always come on whenever you power up the panel, that's where you can choose that there. And then we're back to key beep, which is basically just whether or not there's an alert tone from the panel whenever you touch a button. And you can reset there. I believe that would reset to factory settings. Again, if you're unsure of anything, you can just press the help menu there. We have a gold arrow just to the right. This allows us to go through the different sets of options in the settings menu here. So the next page is going to be pairing a Bluetooth device. I haven't done this, but I believe this allows you to pair a Bluetooth device, maybe to a Sargent app, in order to give you control of this panel remotely. And then we're back to here. And if you've made any changes, you can confirm those changes by pressing the tick, or cancel and return to the main menu by pressing the X. So next we have the clocks screen, if I press this is a nice timeout screen, and I think on some panels after some inactivity this is the screen that the panel will default to. And you can see we have the clock in the center, and then it's just giving us some very quick glance information, so we can see at a glance if our leisure battery is good with regards to the state of charge or the voltage, and the level of our freshwater tank there. If you want to return to the home menu, we can do so by pressing the home button, which is pretty much going to be the case on many of the screens on this control panel. We still have the question mark if you have questions about what anything means or does. And then down the bottom right here, we have a button for changing the settings here. So if I press this, we can change the time. So we just do hours and minutes and confirm by pressing the tick, or cancel by pressing the X. That's your clock screen. So let's now get into what these buttons are going to be doing here. So we've got lighting, power, water, and enviro, which is obviously short for environment. Let's start with lighting. Now this is one of the areas where this panel can vary wildly depending on your vehicle. I've seen lots of different configurations of buttons here on a few different vehicles, and the lights will do different things. So this is going to be vehicle dependent, but basically we have a series of buttons here we can turn on for the different lights in the vehicle. And on some vehicles you will have a dimmer, which will be a dimmable light source, which you can control by either tapping the plus or minus or sliding your finger on the scale to change that. If any of these are highlighted yellow, those lights are therefore on. So that's nice and easy there. Now you can see at the bottom we have a blue arrow to the right. This is going to allow us to go to the next page, which will be the next one of these buttons. It saves us having to go back to the main menu to go to the next screen. So for example, if I wanted to go from lighting to power, I can just press this button here and we go to the power screen rather than having to back out to the menu and press power. So it's a nice little quality of life shortcut there. So on the power screen, we have several pages of information that we can cycle through, and that's done by pressing the gold arrow in the middle of the right hand side here. We can cycle through. We'll start here on the leisure battery page. Now I can tell it's the leisure battery because the symbol here is that of a motorhome body inside of a battery. The vehicle battery is a vehicle inside of a battery, and then this one here is solar because the picture of the sun. So we'll start here on the leisure battery page. The battery information is represented in several different ways here, starting with this circular setup where we have a blue surround there. As you can see, it's a fair way round. This is actually lining up with the coloured section that surrounds it, which you can see goes from red to amber to green. We're well past the green section here, and that's because, as it says there, we are charging. If the battery was not on charge, for example, if I show you on the vehicle battery, you can see the blue area is lining up nicely in the green zone, which means it's good. We also have the voltage represented as a number below us, below it, sorry, and then below that we have the ammeter. It says there current. This is telling us how much energy is either going in or out of the battery. You can see the battery symbol is showing an arrow going into it, so this means energy going in. 8.8 amps currently of energy is going into the battery. If the battery had energy going out of it, if we were off grid, for example, and we weren't on charge and we're using our vehicle, this arrow will be going out of the battery to a number, telling you how much energy is being used. So that's the pages, that's the information for the leisure battery there. Very easy. The vehicle battery is basically the same display, just obviously showing you information for that particular battery. And then we have solar. So if your vehicle is set up with solar and it's wired through the Sargent system so that it can detect it and show it on the panel here, it will show you how much energy is being generated by the solar panel here and which battery that energy is being directed to. So as you can see here, in this case, any solar energy that would be generated is being directed to the leisure battery. Now there's another feature on the battery page that you might not be aware of. It will probably tell you in the help menu, but if you touch the battery symbol, it will change which battery is currently selected. Now this confuses some people, but I'll try to explain this as simply as possible. Basically, your motorhome will typically have a leisure battery setup and a vehicle battery. The leisure battery is the battery obviously that's intended to power your motorhome or leisure vehicle, and the vehicle battery is the one that's intended to start the engine. Now, normally in 99% of cases, you're going to be on the leisure battery. That's going to be the selected battery powering your motorhome and so on. But with a press of a button, we can switch that battery, but it's not actually so that you can draw energy from, for example, the vehicle battery. Instead, it's actually so that you can direct the charge coming from the mains charger. So if you're on hookup and the battery charger is operational, you can change which battery is being charged. That's the reason for this feature. So at the moment, as is showing here, we are charging the leisure battery. If I was to go to the vehicle battery page and press the battery button here, which is currently grey, now that battery is yellow. And as you can see, it says it's now charging. We are now charging the vehicle battery, and that's also shown everywhere else with the voltage going up, and also the ammeter showing there that around 12 amps is going into the vehicle battery. And if we return back to the vehicle battery, you can see that battery has now gone grey, indicating it is no longer on charge. The voltage is starting to tail off, and you can also see that there is no energy either going in or out of the leisure battery. It's totally disconnected. Now, this is something you would only ever do when you are on grid and your battery charger is operational, because otherwise you would be drawing power from the selected battery, which in the vehicle battery's case would obviously be no good because you might not be able to start your engine. You can also switch the battery just by pressing the button on the page that you're currently on. So for example, if I was on, as you can see, we're on the vehicle battery page here. If I wanted to switch the leisure battery onto charge, I don't have to go to the leisure battery page and press the button here to do it, although that would work. I can also just press the button here, and it's now gone grey, meaning that therefore the leisure battery will now be yellow. So as you can see, just touching that button turns it from grey to yellow to choose whether it is or isn't the selected battery. So that's another way of switching it. Either way, it's going to be the button there. If it's yellow, it's the selected battery, and therefore it's also the one that will be charged from the charger. Hopefully that makes sense for you. But that's basically the power menu. It's going to be very useful for seeing all your battery information and also switching which battery is on charge. So I'm going to use the right arrow here to go to the water page, but of course that is also accessible from the main menu by pressing the water button. And again, this is a page that can vary depending on the configuration of your leisure vehicle. So here we are going to be looking at information for the water tanks that are on board. This particular vehicle has a fresh tank and a waste tank or grey water tank, and we can cycle through each tank's information by pressing the gold arrow on the right hand side. So on the fresh tank page, you can clearly see we have the level indicated in the center, both as a percentage and also as a blue ring there. And then we have several buttons. Now, again, just to reiterate, these buttons can vary depending on the specification of your vehicle. This particular vehicle has 3. It has a water pump button, which most vehicles would typically have, because this provides power to your water pump so that it can then run and do its job in transferring water around the vehicle and obviously out of your taps. We then also have 2 other buttons on this vehicle, one for heater, one for water fill. Now, this isn't the water heater for getting hot water. This is a water tank heater, which we can enable like so. And a water tank heater like this is typically going to be a 12-volt leisure battery powered heating element of some kind that introduces a small amount of heat just to try and help stop the formation of frost or ice in the tank. Just be warned though, they're not very powerful. They're really only capable of helping in a mild frost. In much colder conditions or in extremely cold conditions, these heaters are ineffective and will not prevent your tank freezing. And again, to remind you that many vehicle warranties will not protect against frost or ice damage, even if you have a tank heater fitted and it was turned on. So just still be mindful of the temperatures so that you avoid frost and ice, but this can certainly help in a mild frost by turning it on. Then we have the fill button. What this is going to do, if you have a vehicle fitted with an external water inlet that can be used with a submersible pump, this will typically enable that functionality like so. So turn it on, and then you can use your submersible pump or external tank setup to fill your vehicle's internal tank. That's basically it for this particular page. We then have the grey water or wastewater tank, and this particular vehicle, its waste tank is empty, as you can see, and there are no other buttons. Now, some vehicles may also have tank heaters fitted for the waste tank as well, in which case you would see a heater button here as well, just like we did on the Fresh. You may have other buttons here, but this particular vehicle, there are no additional buttons. All we get is the level for the wastewater tank or grey water tank itself. So that is the water page. Let's go to the next one, which is Enviro, or the environmental page. This just typically gives you temperatures, as you can see. So internal temperature, humidity, and external temperature. And then we're back to the lights. So that's the 4 main pages there and all the main functionality of the control panel. So to turn your control panel off, as mentioned at the start, all we need to do is tap the power button itself. That will return us to that sort of start screen where we have the grayed out button at the bottom and the company branding if you have that on yours, and the control panel is powered down. And there we have it. That's how to use the Sargent EC940 control panel. I hope you found this video useful. I'm Sev, and thank you very much for watching.